Hello, welcome to Opt-in to ROI, building a high-performing MMS marketing program. The most effective way to reach today's new home buyer audience. I want to welcome you by inviting you to go ahead and scan that QR code and feel the experience for yourself. So let's start with defining what MMS versus SMS is. And SMS is the same thing as MMS. The only difference is that one MMS is multimedia, which means, like, as you're seeing here on the screen, some of those ads can have multiple GIFs, animations, HTML5, right? And the concept is to call to action, to send them to a website to go shop because these people have already subscribed. So today I'm going to go through the process of going through what it takes to subscribe, meet compliance, deploy, the best times, the best dates, the type of content, the providers, the expectation, and what the Smart Touch NextGen offer. In addition to that, today we have a special offer for the Sales and Marketing Leadership Summit. And for those of you that miss an opportunity to pick up your squishy, if you scan and subscribe, you will be able to receive one in the mail. So let's start with text messaging and how does it work? Compliance, the carriers. So first and foremost, right, you have to add the request to opt in to your website forms. Today, almost everybody for standing operating procedure, you ask for an email and an opt in, right? And then you also have to ask now for a text message opt in. And in addition to that, you have to have a legal disclosure in your web form. And that consequently is what the technical network registration is going to request, right? So there would be a provider that would credit you by having met this compliance. And that is what you have to do in order to start your program. That is very critical. There are carriers such as Bandwidth, Plevo, Vonage, Twilio is the one that we utilize. And then there are also providers such as Simple Texting, Easy Texting. A lot of you that have been in the new home sales marketing business may have come across those brands because those are some of the popular ones that a lot of the signage utilizes when you have a home for sale and then you can text this number and get more information about that home. Those are some of the most common carriers. However, the rules of the game have changed. So you have to now be able to comply by asking, and as I'm demonstrating on the screen, right, to opt in to receive text updates and be able to disclose this and then have a link to your terms and conditions policy in which you will direct the fact that you are not going to share this number and that the explanation is to the intention are to communicate with you promotions, right? And consequently, like if you want to opt out, you got to have clear and discrete direction. So when you opt in, the first text message that comes back has to confirm that you have indeed opted in, right? The little loophole that we are demonstrating here is that I can replace stop, right? But I have to replace stop to opt out. Otherwise, I'm in, right? But you would have checked the mark. Then there's a question about cost, and I'll go back a screen or two because cost wise, it's approximately a penny and a half, right? Is the cost to deploy a text message. However, you also have to take in consideration that often you have creative and then you have like a platform. So, for example, in Smart Touch NextGen, and it's the messaging module, we charge $100 to set up the messaging platform and get all of the compliance done. That's nothing. And then it's $50 to access a campaign. That's nothing. But then you have a variable cost, right? And just start thinking about like it's gonna take a moment to grow a list of subscribers. Now, I encourage that like the best text is the automation text that comes immediately offering an opportunity to engage with one of your online sales counselors or your community sales manager immediately to ask a question, right? Like that is the best text call to action, and that can happen day one. You don't have to grow a list. However, consider, right? Like if you have a list and that you start with 500 people and you send, because our recommendation is twice a month, that's 1,000 outbound text messages. You should consider a budget of $100. Again, nothing. Like that is dirt cheap. All right, let's talk about frequency, type of reporting, content, right? And so, like, for us, it is one of our best practices. It is integrated into our agency of record clients that this is going to be a staple of their program, just like email marketing is. And therefore, right, like the communications are sales, sales offers, realtor and buyer events, invitations, reminders, right? And then we have what is known as re-engagements, which for some of our master plan communities or some of our new home builders that are in a market, they have a sale, they want to re-engage somebody that's subscribed that may have not been quite ready to buy and invite them to come shop on the website first and foremost. When we have reporting, and what should you expect? Well, what type of message is it? MMS or SMS? What was the volume set? How many actually were delivered? If there was a call to action with a click, how many clicks? How many of those phone numbers were actually fake and failed? And how many people opted out? And then real baller is like what carriers, right? Is it AT&T? Is it T-Mobile, etc.? Each one has their own compliance, their own logistics that you have to be having under consideration. And then this is the next kind of baller move, but like when and how often. And so we recommend twice a month, every other week. For buyers, best days, Saturday and Sunday mornings. That's when people are kind of up and at 'em and paying attention. And then, like, if it's going to be during the week, then 6 to 7 p.m. is a good time. If you have an audience that's 55 plus, Monday afternoons are great. Kind of have a little bit more of a attention span on Mondays for some reason. And then your realtor on Thursdays and Friday mornings. They are already scouting out their routes for their weekend buyers and they're paying attention. So, not a bad idea. So, our solution. The new NextGen offers its own integrated messaging platform that rolls up all the way into the individual contact record, and a great reason why you would consider having and utilizing Smart Touch NextGen. As you can see here by this arrow, in which we indicate a difference between email campaigns and then messaging campaigns, and put out our KPIs: leads, how many are touched, tours, sales, new forms, engagements, right? And so in our module, we have a way to facilitate for marketers to be able to do this on your own without having to depend on us or an agency. You can certainly lean on us for that. However, this is really autonomous. And so you go through the process of selecting what type of campaign it's going to be. Is it going to be for a realtor? Is it a drip? Is it a re engagement? Right? You upload your images just like email, and then you insert them and put in the text. Pretty easy. Step number two, you can add a workflow. So in this case, when a form is submitted, I want to add a tag. I want to assign it to a salesperson. I want to adjust the lead score based on what form was submitted. I want to notify a user. And then I want to send a messaging text. And if they engage with it, I want to adjust the lead score. So I've now added some automation. And consequently, like once I deploy the campaign, the messaging campaign, you can look at your results and look at and filter by date ranges, by the type of campaign, etc., and get a big picture of like macro results. And then you can click on one of these and go a layer deeper, in which you can then understand from that individual campaign how many actual people clicked on it. And you can click on these individuals and consequently go to their contact record and work the leads, reassign them, add them to another work. So that is Smart Touch NextGen, an easy to use solution. And I want to encourage you to take our digital marketing test, get your diagnostic today, and we'll ship you one of our squishies, Smart Touch squishies, brought to you by our COO, Aaron Fichera. So thank you for taking a moment to listen and understand about new messaging and a new solution by Smart Touch NextGen.